Hi Kit fans, Louise with you today, and I am sharing another take on the old scrapbook magazine layout today. So I've chosen this sort of grid pattern layout that uses all different pattern papers, and they've kind of got this distressed kind of edge to them, but it's not with a distressing tool. So I'm going to do my take on that, which is using the mixed media paste to distress the edges of all of my elements. So the first thing I'm going to do is have a little bit of a play around with which patterned papers and items I actually want to use. Now, I tend to struggle with papers that are really patterned. So I don't like to have too much pattern on my papers because it can get a bit overwhelming. So I like to balance that out with lots of white space. Now, because I'm doing a grid style layout, I have to be very careful about how I make this grid work. I don't want it, so at the moment you can see it's looking a little bit like too squarish. I needed to move it around and have a little bit more of a breakup with those elements. So I've also used a couple of the packaging pieces that came this month, and once I'm happy with where my elements are going to go, I am going to start to mess around with the mixed media part of this layout. Now, as you can see, I'm not following the magazine inspiration. I'm not following that completely in terms of copying it. It's more just for inspiration. So the inspiration is the grid and then the distressing around each element of the grid. Now, because I'm using the mixed media and I'm doing it with my finger, this does get quite messy. So I end up with paste pretty much everywhere. You can see I've got my lovely white background, and as I start to work through this, I end up with paste on my background. I end up with paste on my white cardstock background. I end up with paste everywhere. So it does get a little bit messy, but I really like the way this came out. I think using the magazine for inspiration has really given me a different take on the way I'm creating at the moment, and that's what I miss most about magazine. I know we've got Facebook and we've got social groups and all kinds of different places we can get inspiration, Pinterest and that sort of thing, but for me, nothing beats a good old flicking through a magazine, and I would so love if we could get magazines back into the creative world. So because I've got this bit of paste left on my finger and I've already made a mess of my white cardstock background, I spread a little bit more paste around and just have fun with it. So now that I have off camera let everything dry, I've stuck all my elements down, I've washed my hands so I'm not covered in paste anymore, it's purely just a matter of playing around with the embellishing. So when I look at these elements of the background, I just want to treat them all like an individual page and embellish cluster on each of them. So there's nothing really technical going on now. I'm purely just adding a couple of little elements. I'm going to show you what they look like, and then this page is done. So that's my second magazine scrap lift. I hope that you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching.